Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been officially 2 months since I left my 9-to-5 job. Actually like 2.5 months. It's been, I think, like 10 weeks since I left my job, and I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on how my burnout and stress symptoms have been since I left. If you see the thumbnail and you're wondering what in the world, when were you in the hospital, what happened, make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because I'm going to be giving you guys that full story on what happened and how it's affected to my burnout and stress. But before we talk about that, I think it's important to pre-rec the story with all of the symptoms that I was feeling when I was still in my 9-to-5 job and how those symptoms have changed or improved since I now have left my 9-to-5 job and been out of it for 10 weeks. Super quick interruption. If you guys missed my last video, I talked about the fact that I am creating a VIP live group program to work through all of the issues surrounding leaving your 9-to-5 job, helping you create an aligned exit strategy. So if you're looking for a support group and a specific plan to kind of figure this process out, go to the link in my description to save your spot and save a seat for yourself. And if you want to hear a little bit more about why I'm creating this program or the inspiration behind it, make sure to watch this video up here. I'll also have it linked in the description below so you can watch it after this video. I hope to see you guys in there. So I'm gonna start by touching on my sleep. When I was in my 9-to-5 job, I talked about how I had a really hard time sleeping. I could never fall asleep at night. I was not getting good quality sleep. I always felt tired. I was grinding my teeth at night. My heart would race every time I would get into bed. And a lot of that has improved so much, like extremely improved. I have not woken up to grinding my teeth in a really long time. My jaw has not been hurting, and I've actually been able to get quality sleep since I quit my job. A lot of it was due to the fact that I really overhauled my sleep patterns and really adjusted my sleep schedule and my caffeine intake. So I used to drink a ton of coffee. I was in this constant cycle of waking up, being tired and unmotivated because I didn't like my job, drinking a ton of coffee to get done what I needed to get done, then being wired for the rest of the night, being up in bed with my heart racing, staying up super late from stress and anxiety, then falling asleep finally because I would take a sleeping pill, waking up, being tired, and then doing the whole process again. So I've shared a lot in the past few weeks and months since I left my job about my journey with improving my sleep, etc. Make sure to kind of jump around. There's a few different videos on my channel that really go into detail about what I did for that, but the main things that have really helped has been cutting down my caffeine to only 1 cup a day. So I literally most days try to only drink my morning cup of coffee and that is it. Whereas I used to drink probably 3, 4, even 5 different caffeinated drinks throughout the day. I would drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee. I would drink hot tea that was caffeinated. I would drink soda at night. I drank so much caffeine before. So reducing that caffeine intake has been a big factor in my opinion of what has helped me to actually improve my sleep, as well as completely cutting out sleeping pills and starting to finally get on like a good sleep schedule. I did a really comprehensive video about that plan that I will link in the description for you guys that talks about the actual specific steps I took to overhaul my entire sleep. But I adjusted my schedule after spending a good bit of time, maybe a week or 2, allowing myself to sleep as much as my body wanted to kind of reset and like catch up from all the sleep deprivation that I had while I was in my job. But one thing I found is that although I was reducing my caffeine intake and I was adjusting my schedule and things were getting better, things were still not great. I was still feeling really tired in the morning and I felt like my sleep quality still just wasn't awesome. I had been tracking my sleep using the Sleep Cycle app and I was seeing that I just wasn't having a ton of REM sleep at night. And one of my subscribers, Chris, reached out to me and he works for a company that sells very high quality CBD oil. I had tried CBD oil in the past for sleep because I've struggled with sleep for a long time and I never saw results, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. He sent me a free sample and I tried it out and it seriously improved my sleep so much. And there was 2 main things that I saw that really impacted my sleep on like an insane level. The first one was when I would take it at night before bed, I didn't feel this feeling of my heart pounding in my throat throat. I always have this issue where although my heart isn't racing as much as it was when I was in my 9-to-5 job, when I would get into bed, I still can feel my heart. Like when I'm sitting, it'll be, you know, in my chest where it's supposed to be. And then as I lay down and try to calm down to sleep, I feel it moving up higher and higher. And it's like in my throat, and it's super uncomfortable and makes it hard to fall asleep, of course. And this literally, once I take it, the next 30 minutes, I feel like the heartbeat lowering into my body again and just settling back down into my chest. That is a huge factor for me because it's super easy for me to focus so much on like my heart beating and feeling it in my throat that I just like cannot fall asleep. So I'm so grateful for this CBD oil. The next thing that it really helped with was my sleep schedule. And basically my entire life, I've always been someone who can sleep as much as I want. Like if I go to bed, doesn't matter what time, doesn't matter if I'm sleep deprived or not, I could let myself sleep for 12 hours if I really wanted to. I've always had to use alarms to wake me up, and I've had to literally blast these alarms. I've talked about it in the past on my videos. I used the app Alarmy where I would have to take a picture of my bathroom sink to actually turn my alarm off, or do a ton of math problems, or shake my phone, or all of these different things that I had to do to get myself to wake up in the morning. But when I had been consistently taking this CBD oil for 7 days, I started waking up before my alarm every single day on my own. I would wake up at 7:50 on the dot every single day. I've never done that in my entire life. So the only thing I can gather from that is that my sleep quality is just like through the roof, so much better, that I'm actually rested and I wake up in the morning because I actually am ready to wake up. Like I'm not tired anymore. So I am really, really happy about that. And if you watch my budget update, like financial updates video, you'll have seen that I spent a good deal of money on CBD oil in the month of September because I really, really liked the positive impact it had on my sleep, that I decided to invest in it to continue using it while I'm kind of adjusting throughout this period of my life and getting back to a more normal state of being without being so stressed. So if you're interested in trying it out, this is not sponsored at all, by the way. I just really, really loved this CBD oil compared to others. And if you've tried CBD oil in the past, or if you just have sleep issues and you want to try it out, I'm going to link Chris's Instagram down below so you guys can contact him and kind of talk to him more about it and what he offers. In his Instagram, if you don't want to connect with him yourself, he also has a link to the website where you can purchase the CBD oil on your own. And basically what I use is the berry flavored CBD oil, and I'll also have a link down to that CBD oil in the description. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my sleep. It has improved dramatically. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was my hair falling out, because that was a big warning sign for me when I was into my 9-to-5 job. I was losing so much of my hair. It was honestly ridiculous. That has not really improved yet, if I'm being honest. And at first I was a little worried. I was like, is there actually something wrong with me? Like, do I have some type of vitamin deficiency or something that's causing me to have hair loss? But then I looked into it and I discovered something very interesting. Apparently, your body reacts to stress responses in a delayed fashion. And with the symptom of hair falling out, this one is highly delayed. So apparently it takes about 3 months for your actual body, in terms of like your hair falling out, to catch up with what's actually going on around you and in your head and your stress levels. So if we think about it like that, I put in my notice at my job at the beginning of July, which was exactly 3 months ago from right now when I'm filming this video, but I didn't leave my job until the end of July. So it won't be until the end of October that it's actually been 3 months since I've been in my job. The first month that I was out of my job, during August and actually like half of September, I really just saw all my hair still falling out. I felt like it didn't seem like anything was changing very much. And then I started to notice something interesting a few weeks ago, which is I had all of these baby hairs growing back in, and it's probably really hard to see on camera right now, and but I'm going to try to pull them out, and you'll see they're pretty long. So I think this regrowth actually started after I left my job more, but now it's like starting to actually grow in. And if you look at like the top of my head, basically it always looks like I have a ton of flyaway hairs because of this hair regrowth that I'm having. And I do feel like I'm losing less hair. I'm not having to pick up as much hair off the floor in my bathroom and cleaning out my brush as often, but it's definitely still there. So I will update you guys again in like a month or two once it's been like 3 months fully since I left my job. But if you are in that same situation and you're you're having issues with your hair falling out because of stress, just know that it's delayed like 3 months. Just keep waiting if you were in that period like me, because hopefully it will end and I will not be losing any more of my hair. So the next one is nausea, which I was feeling nauseous like almost every day when I was in my 9-to-5 job, and that is completely gone. Like I'm barely ever nauseous anymore. I'm someone who gets nauseous very, very easily, and anytime I'm stressed, I'm nauseous, or if I have a cold, I get nauseous. Like anything that's wrong with me makes my body be like, nope, now you're nauseous. The fact that I haven't been nauseous really much at all lately has been super awesome, except for the day that I went to the hospital, which again, wait till the end of the video to hear about that. But besides that, I really have not been nauseous very often. No more daily nausea, so that's a great plus. So the next symptom was not being able to think straight, and this has improved a ton. I would say like it's improved 80%, but I still feel like sometimes I stumble over my words more than I used to, and I'm not sure if it's actually because of like the stress and like not being able to think clearly, or if it's just because I've been recording a lot more videos, and when I record, I tend to start talking really, really fast, which you probably have seen in my videos, and then I start to stumble over my words, and yeah, I'm just like thinking while I'm talking too much because like it's for a video versus just like talking to a friend. I don't feel like I stumble over my words as much when I'm talking to just like my friends. I think this has really improved a ton, and it's just like from my angle, it feels like, oh, it's improved, but it's not all the way better, but it's definitely not something that I really noticed that much like I used to when I was in my job. So I'm happy with that one. My period was late at the end of me working my 9-to-5 job, and I knew it was from stress. Now my period has been a lot more consistent. It is fluctuated between 25 to 28 day cycles, which before I had that really bad few cycles, my period was consistently 26 days. So I'm kind of around that range, but it's still a little bit inconsistent and fluctuating. So I think my body's still just adjusting to the stress levels that are like constantly changing and trying to like level out, but it's not a super late period like it used to be. So I still consider that a win. So daily headaches was another one that I had, and those are totally gone. And I think that those daily headaches were obviously connected to stress, but I think they were a byproduct of stress symptoms. For example, the teeth grinding that I had at night, I think that was causing a lot of my headaches because it was causing me jaw pain and then tension headaches. And since I'm not grinding my teeth anymore at night, at least not to the extent that I was where it's waking me up, I have not been getting any more headaches, as well as the fact that I've cut down my caffeine. I think that has really affected the amount of headaches that I've gotten as well. And then my immune system not being strong, my immune system has gotten a ton better since I left my job, which is awesome. I have fought off multiple like small colds where like, oh, I feel like I have like a little sore throat coming, and then like it gets better and I'm fine. Whereas when I was in my 9-to-5 job, like I would get sick like once every few weeks and actually feel sick and not be okay. So that's awesome. I'm really happy about that. I think that has to do with stress as well as my sleep schedule and everything else. And I'm just probably overall eating better now because I'm not ordering as much takeout food as I was when I was when I was into my, oh my gosh. And I'm not ordering as much takeout food as I was when I was in my 9-to-5 job. So I don't know, but it's improved. So my immune system is much stronger than it was, which is great. So now I'm going to get into the reason why I was in the hospital, hence the thumbnail of this video, which basically starts with a story. So I went to Florida to visit my family for about 9 days at the end of September. In general, looking back, I had a lot of stress about going back for a few reasons. Number one, I don't like airplanes and they really, really stress me out. So I think that was a factor, as well as I just hadn't been to see my family since Christmas, and I hadn't seen anyone really in person since I left my 9-to-5 job, and I hadn't shared that I left my job with multiple members of Oliver's family. So all of that combined, I think, was causing me some stress just because I was overwhelmed with the whole idea, and I knew that there was going to be some difficult conversations or just harder conversations for me. So I was a little bit nervous, I think, about that. But long story short, one day me and Oliver were at his sister's house meeting our new niece. She is so cute. I love her so much. And his family was there and we were all hanging out and everything was fine. Like I didn't feel stressed or anything. Like I was chilling. Everything was good. And all of a sudden we went outside to walk around and they were showing us some stuff in their garage. And I started feeling really weird. Like my arms and legs were tingling and felt really numb. And I was like, this is kind of strange. And it started to feel like my legs were really weak, like they were gonna give out or something. And I like leaned over to Oliver and I was like, hey, I'm not really feeling very good. Like my legs and arms feel kind of weird. Like I feel like my legs are gonna like give out or something. And he was like, all right, like we should go inside. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, let's just wait a minute. We're about to go back inside anyways. So I kept standing there, and then I got really lightheaded and I was like, whoa, like I think I'm gonna pass out. So then I was like, all right, like let's go inside. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Let's go. So we went inside and sat down on the couch, and I started feeling worse. I just started to feel like very woozy and weird and lightheaded, and I was sitting down, but I still felt like I was gonna pass out, and my legs and arms were obviously now just like tingling, and I was like starting to freak out. I was like, Oliver, I do not feel good. This is not good. I feel very bad and I'm freaking out. And he was like, all right, let's go lay down, because I was like starting to like feel like I was gonna cry just from like what's going on with my body. So we went and laid down in the guest room for a little bit, and I was laying down and I started getting really, really nauseous. So at this point, legs and arms dying, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I'm super, super nauseous. I'm stressed and worried. So I'm like starting to get like upset and like feeling like I'm gonna cry. It was just a lot. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I'm not someone who gets freaked out by things very easily in terms of like medical things. I usually don't go see a doctor if I'm sick unless there's something seriously wrong with me. Like I had my appendix out a long time ago, and obviously that day I knew like something's wrong. We need to go see a doctor right now. Like I know something's wrong with me. And then it was my appendix, and I got an appendectomy that day. So I'm pretty good in my opinion at like being intuitive with what's going on in my body, and like I don't really overreact very often. But I had this like gut feeling that like something was off. It just didn't feel normal, you know? So I decided like I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I might want to go to like a walk-in clinic or something. But if you have watched any of my old videos, I mentioned that when I left my 9-to-5 job, like I didn't get new health insurance because I am like overall very healthy. So I was like, I don't really need health insurance right now. If anything bad happens, like we can always sign up for health insurance, like it'll be fine. So I didn't have health insurance. So I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, like is it bad enough that I want to spend money out of pocket to like go to a walk-in clinic? And I just like wasn't sure. So I called my mom and I was like, hey, you live around here, where should we go to a walk-in clinic? Like I don't feel good, and I just like want to figure out like where I could even go and like what it's going to cost. She looked around, she called around and found a place that would be $150 for just the actual visit. And then of course, if they had to do any testing, it would be more money, but the out-of-pocket cost was $150. So I was like, okay, that's not terrible. Let me see how I feel, because I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and then maybe I'll go. So I hung up with her and it started to pass, and I was like, oh, I'm actually feeling better now. I'm like, you know what? Let's go back out in the living room with everyone and kind of hang out. So we went back out into the living room and we were sitting on the couch, and I was like talking with them because everyone was like, oh, are you okay? And then like literally a wave just hit me again. Everything started happening all over again. Legs and arms tingling, lightheaded, nauseous. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like I need to go lay back down. I was out there for like 2 minutes and then I already felt worse, and I was like, okay, gotta go, bye. So I went back, laid down again, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to take a nap because I'm so nauseous, and I'm just gonna lay down and see if I can fall asleep. And then if I fall asleep and I wake up feeling better, then I won't go. So I'm laying there and I was feeling really tired, like I was actually gonna be able to fall asleep, which I do not nap. So that was kind of weird for me, but I'm like, good, my body just needs the rest. So this is good. And then I started feeling better and it started to pass again. And I was like, okay, if it goes away now, like then we're not gonna go see someone. But if it comes back a third time, then we're gonna go. So I'm laying there. I thought I was actually gonna maybe fall asleep, and then like clockwork, the wave hit again, and it hit me for a third time. So once it hit the third time, I immediately was like, let's just go right now. So we got in the car, drove to the walk-in clinic. They basically saw me for like 2 minutes and was like, you need to go to the ER, like we can't treat you here. And they weren't very good at explaining like why they wouldn't treat me there. Basically what my symptoms were could be like a heart attack, or could be something very serious where I would like need to just be at the ER. So I guess their thought was, why look at you here? Like you should just go to the ER. But I was trying to tell them like, hey, I don't have insurance. Like I would rather be checked out here. And if you guys are very concerned after you check me out here, then like I'll go to the ER. But they just said like, no, you have to go to the ER. So they had checked my blood pressure and my heart rate, and those were both normal. So I was like, okay, well maybe I don't want to go. If my heart rate and my blood pressure are normal, like maybe I'm okay. But I really just knew that if I didn't get checked out, I was just gonna be paranoid that there was something wrong with me and that like something was gonna happen. So I decided to go to the ER, which I really did not want to go, but I went. I'm glad I did at the end of the day. I'm very grateful, because we went to the ER and and they got us in really quickly. It was all fine. They did an EKG and they did a ton of blood work and everything came back normal, which was a blessing and a curse because it was good because, you know, I'm okay. Like there was nothing physically wrong with me that they could see, which was good. But now I didn't actually have like a cause for any of these symptoms. And the doctor at the ER had mentioned like, oh, do you think it could possibly be anxiety? Like, did you have an anxiety attack? And I was like, no, like I've had anxiety attacks in the past. Like that's not what it was. She basically said that she thought maybe I had some type of stomach bug because I was feeling nauseous and I was reacting weird to it and just like was overwhelmed by how I was feeling. And I don't know, she didn't really have a good answer. She didn't know, which fair, you know, she's like, sometimes these things just never get figured out and we never end up finding out what the issue was and this never happens again. All of your vitals, the EKG, your blood work, everything was great. So she sent me home. So I went home and after looking into it more, I realized that there's a difference between a panic attack and an anxiety attack. And a panic attack can be characterized by an attack that doesn't actually have a real cause. Like there's not a buildup like with an anxiety attack. Because for me with anxiety attacks, I always felt anxious. It built, and then I felt like I was having an anxiety attack. Whereas with this, everything was fine and I didn't feel stressed or anxious. And then all of a sudden, all of these symptoms came up. And I never knew that your legs and arms get tingly with a panic attack and even with an anxiety attack, but I had never had that symptom before. So after reading about it more, I am fairly certain that's what happened and that it was a panic attack. And I didn't feel well for the rest of the trip after that. I was really, really tired. I felt really on edge the whole time and a lot of things would start to like push me to a point where I felt like, oh my gosh, everything's gonna start happening again. Like I'm gonna have another panic attack. My legs and arms felt very weird the rest of the trip as well. So it wasn't until we got back from DC and probably the second day back in DC that I felt like myself again and everything was gone. And now I feel completely normal. So looking back, I think that I was like subconsciously feeling stress about the trip and had some anxiety and stress going on in my head, but it wasn't to the extent of like a localized stress where I was feeling it build up right then and then I had an anxiety attack. And I think that that's what caused the panic attack. The takeaway I had from this is that although all of my symptoms of burnout that I mentioned are getting a lot better and improving so much, it doesn't mean that I'm not feeling stressed still and not feeling all of the changes that are happening in my life and that they're not affecting me on a like mental and physical level. Sometimes it's easy to see that things are bad and that things aren't going well with you if you're feeling all of these physical symptoms of stress and burnout like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. But sometimes it's not that simple and it's not that clear that something's wrong. And I don't think that there's really anything actually wrong right now. I think I'm just feeling the effects of all of the change that's happening in my life versus when I was in my job, it was very clear that there was an actual thing wrong with what was going on and that my job was just clashing with me as a person and it was not working and it was causing me so much stress. So with that being said, what am I doing now? I'm really trying to stay as calm as I can, and I read about a lot of ways to cope if I'm having a panic attack again. It's very possible that I will have another one again, but at least this time I will be prepared and I'll have in my head that it's probably a panic attack and I can try some of the strategies that I read about online and have heard from other people. So if I do have another one and I feel like the strategies I use worked, I will share it with you guys in the future, but I really don't have much to share besides the story that happened and the speculation that it's panic attack. There's really no way to know for certain until it happens again. And panic attacks can be caused by specific triggers that can happen again and again. So like it can be a very similar trigger, such as like someone who has a panic attack every time they go in a car. There wasn't really anything specific that I could pinpoint for what the cause could have been. So I really don't know if there was a trigger that was like very specific that might happen to me again, or if I will just randomly have one out of nowhere again. But I'll keep you guys updated, and I appreciate all of your love and support, and thanks for listening to my story. I'm curious to hear if any of you have had a panic attack before and you're willing to share information about it. Let us know in the comments down below, because from what I've read online, everyone's experience can be pretty different, but also there's a lot of key similarities that are kind of across multiple people's experiences. Other than that, I have really nothing else to share with you guys. I am very nervous for the hospital bill and I am not looking forward to receiving that in the mail, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. At the end of the day, your health is so important, and although I knew that it was going to cost a lot of money, I'm so glad that I went and got checked out, even though there was literally like no outcome of it besides figuring out that I'm okay and like I'm not physically ill right now, and that it really is like potentially more of a mental thing. So those updates about the bill will be in future videos, I'm sure, but other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.